All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do our best and hope that we have a steady internet connection. We'll see with weather, and this is the new element of teaching online. Don't mind my dogs through this process. They love lightning and thunder, as you can tell. So you might hear some undertones of panting and screaming, and I'll do my best to try to contain them as we move forward. All right. So today we're talking about prospecting, but Michael, you told me that lead generation was over. Yeah, I understand. And yet here we are when we talk about daily business and what we need to do to get started. So understanding that by growing our business through lead generation for buyers and sellers is one of the most important things that we can do. And so we need to connect our prospecting to our lead generation, understanding that being prospecting based, marketing enhanced is one of the best things that we can do. And so what that means is prospecting is the activities that we do, what we would refer to as sweat equity, while marketing can be think of as check equity. So we take those two ideas, we capture those leads go into our database, and they're a lead that we want to convert into a contact. A lead is someone that we have one-way opportunity to communicate, where a contact, we have a two-way permission-based relationship. And so that's one of the biggest key things when we talk about your database, is actually how many people in your database have given you permission to communicate with them and they welcome your call. Is significantly different than someone who has thousands of people in their database that's really nothing more than a digital white pages, right? So we want to be very intentional about our lead generation model and ensure that we are prospecting based. So the two ways that we can best deal with this is to ensure the 2M method, which is the 2M approach, making sure that our message and our method are in alignment with one another. So our message might be something that's either direct or indirect, that is something that we're providing of value. And our method might be something like a postcard, it might be a phone call, it might be door knocking, it might be an open house, whatever it might look like. Our methods are going to change and our message might be tweaked ever so slightly. So again, we've seen this triangle before, but it's a really great reminder that prospecting should be the foundation of your business. You'll notice that it's the base of the triangle. And so prospecting, there are immediate results. It is proactive. It's time intensive, not money intensive, where marketing, on the other term, is long-term results. It's passive, right? Not active. And it is extremely money intensive, or can be money intensive. Definitely requires money either way to happen. Unlike prospecting, you have your phone, you can make calls on your phone. If you are healthy and can walk, you can knock on doors and do other things of that nature. Prospecting does not have to cost you any money or very little money, where marketing, of course, does. So why is it best, do you feel, to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced and not the other way around? Let's go ahead and put that in the chat box. Please go ahead and do that for me. Make sure that it says all panelists and attendees. That way we've got, so that everyone can see your response. Why is it best to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? Okay, it's cost effective, absolutely. Prospecting is more direct contact with the client, absolutely. Leslie said prospecting is more hands-on and marketing is more behind the scenes. Okay. Yeah, all of those are great. Linda, it's more personable, absolutely. And Kelly Reynolds says, when starting out, you need something more immediate. I'll tell you what, Kelly, whether you are just starting out or it's been years, prospecting is one of the best ways to have consistent business. Marketing helps with brand recognition. Marketing helps to solidify what that looks like. But again, it's not always going to be the first immediate thing. And a perfect example of this is on Thursday, Doug and I, for Red Day, we went out to the beaches and we're doing some coastal cleanup. And prior to, we went to Winn-Dixie to grab some drinks and some things for the day because we were going to be out in the heat. And so as we were walking out, we were wearing our Red Day t-shirts, and a woman who was working at Winn-Dixie saw the shirt and she was like, "Oh, Keller Williams." She's like, "Sell me something." And it was in that moment where Doug could either just continue walking or ended up stopping and asked her questions. What was it that she was looking for? She was looking to downsize. And it's now turned into a conversation where she owns her home free and clear and is looking to downsize that home into something smaller. So it's now a list and a buy. And so it's from that perspective that would be prospecting based marketing enhanced. The t-shirt allowed the opportunity to prospect. Yet if he did not ask the questions, if he did not take the time to speak with her, that would have been an opportunity missed. So it's one of those that is always making sure that you're actually doing the activity to what Linda said, it's more personable. So I can have a direct conversation and there's a lasting impression when you've actually physically met someone and you've been able to see a little bit of their energy as opposed to just, your JCPenney headshot or whatever it might be that you've been using, and that's all of us, right? That professional shot is only showing a glimpse of who we are. It's much, much more than that. And prospecting allows us to do that for sure. So understanding some of the prospecting methods that you can do, well, that can be phone or face-to-face. And that can be done through listings without agency. So a for sale by owner or an expired listing. Circle prospecting is taking an address and then calling within a quarter of a mile, half a mile around that home in diameter, where you can be reaching out to neighborhoods, apartment complexes, recently sold listings, recently listed properties. I love circle prospecting. I talk about it often. It's one of the most underutilized aspects of what we do. I honestly believe that when making phone calls, there are two streams to sift for gold. I feel like everyone is in the stream where you can sift for gold in the for sale by owners and expired stream, and you still should have some people over in that area that are constantly sifting because you will find gold. And yet the other stream is this circle prospecting. It's the people who do not already have their hand raised, but they're close to someone that they've seen the results. It's a psychological thing that's called social proof, right? So social proof is one of those things that is, if you were in a mall and 150 people looked terrified and were screaming and they were running in a certain direction, more often than not, that social proof is going to cause someone to not ask questions. They're just going to start running in the direction that everyone else is running, because the assumption is that they're avoiding something that's not good, right? Well, that's social proof. The same social proof comes when I see my friend or my neighbor has sold their home and they sold their home very quickly for a great value. Well, maybe I should consider selling my home too. There was social proof that it's done, right? And the same thing happens with the stock market. Social proof happens. Everyone's selling. Everyone's saying, run for the hills. I should probably run for the hills too. I'm not asking enough questions in a positive or negative light. I'm just doing what I'm assuming because society is doing it. That's enough proof that I need. So with this, when you're circle prospecting, think of it from the perspective of what a lot of people will do, which is to say, I just wanted to give you a call. Our office recently sold your neighbor's home, 123 Banana Street. It was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and it sold in 13 days for $465,000. I'm just calling because we know that usually when one sells, 2 other sales happen shortly thereafter. We've got a lot of buyers that are interested in your neighborhood, and with inventory being so low, I was curious, at what price do you become a seller? Or maybe it's something like, have you ever had thoughts of selling? I, of course, like the former question because I think it's a little more direct. I think it also kind of is an interesting turn of phrase when you do, at what price do you become a seller? Because they're not prepared for that question, where have you ever thought about selling is a little bit more indirect of a question. And so again, that goes back to my message is, are you thinking about selling? Have you ever thought about selling? Would you like to sell? My method might be different in terms of whether or not I'm going to be direct or indirect by saying, have you ever thought of, or at what price do you become a seller? So it's a wonderful way of doing that, because that person has probably not been called by 6, 12, 15 other people. And yet you could potentially get in front of them because serendipitously they just thought, or because you called them, you triggered them to believe that maybe it is a good time to sell or a good time to buy. So I love circle prospecting. Community outreach can be done through charity and volunteer work, doing things with your house of worship, doing things with local nonprofits, whatever that might look like. And then key relationships, what corporations, maybe an HR person for a large company like Tech Data, how often are they bringing people here that need to relocate, need to buy property? Are you building relationships with financial advisors? Are you building relationships with probate attorneys? Are you building relationships with who are the industries, who are the corporations and industries that can help you, that are a steady stream of leads? Builders, new construction, what builders do you know of knowing upcoming properties that you might be able to advertise and get them more buyers? Working with banks and credit unions. So banks and credit unions oftentimes, especially our local credit unions, will do things like first-time home buyer programs, or they will do seminars, and so they will partner with agents. Do you bank with a credit union that maybe you can go to your local bank and see how you can get involved in teaching a seminar, co-teaching a seminar with your credit union to attract buyers? Third-party data companies. So what data companies could you possibly gain information from? Phone lists, data lists, so that you can begin to communicate with people because they have an interest somewhere. And then, of course, investors. So reaching out to investors, seeing off-market properties, pocket listings, some of those things that might be helpful. And also teaching and speaking opportunities. We kind of talked about that. Meals. So you can provide meals for other people. You can volunteer to do some meals. You might be able to take someone to lunch, right? Or take a small group of people to lunch and make it a focus group. You can do door-to-door canvassing by knocking on people's doors to give them something of information. A networking event, whether it's a chamber of commerce or a local organization that's important to you. Having a booth or a kiosk at a place like the Saturday morning market, or the Tampa Bay Home Show, or different areas where you can get a lot of foot traffic that you can have conversation and get people interested in talking to you. And then, of course, walk-ins, which is the least productive of prospecting. It's kind of more lead receiving. But yes, some people do walk in or phone into the office. That is known as floor time. So doing a deep dive into the prospecting methods and understanding, there are door knocking, agent-to-agent referrals, open houses, social media, whatever it is that you want to use. The model, of course, is to approach the door. So knock on the door and take a step back, right? You want to be about 4 feet back. Just take one big step back, so that way you have an opportunity. You can act, so the act is to come of value, provide something, whether it's a market update or you want to tell them about something that's going on that weekend. Ask them if they or anyone they know is thinking about buying or selling. And then you can advance, so putting that person into your database, identifying that you did speak with them, send them a thank you card for their time, and continue to deliver your prospecting, where you're checking in with them quarterly, and then maybe they're a part of your marketing plan where they're getting a postcard or they're getting something from you now that you have their address. Agent to agent referrals. So we have to grow our agent referrals, right? Some of you are already doing this, that part of your 10 calls per day, you're incorporating agents into those 10. I think it's the smartest thing that you can do. So far this year, we've had 4 transactions since January that have come from Keller Williams agents outside of the area. So you want to grow that database, then you want to manage it. So making sure that they're getting communication, that you have as much information about them and how they can help you as possible. And then you need to maintain that relationship. making sure that you do go to things like family reunion and mega camp where you've networked with them before. You want to keep that relationship top of mind. You want to interact with them on social media. You want to, of course, make sure that they're updated about what's going on in your area if they have anyone, and picking up the phone and just checking in, right? So again, you can do this through referrals in command. On the left-hand side, as you scroll down on the tabs, the icons, you will see that one of those is referrals, which is an opportunity for you to send and receive referrals. You can broadcast a referral, so you can let someone know, hey, or you can let a city know, I have a buyer need in Des Moines, and I need an agent. So you can broadcast that referral to that area, and then they have an opportunity to raise their hand and interview for the job, or you can do it based on the map search feature. And I've shown you this before on being able to see how referrals come inbound and outbound, and that's part of the map feature for sure. So open houses, we absolutely have to have a pre, during, and post method. So preparing for an open house is making sure that you have comparable properties that you can share with people if this house is not what they're interested in. You're able to knock on 50 or 100 doors around the property and let the neighbors know that you're going to be holding an open house this weekend. And if they know anyone that would like to be their neighbor, to go ahead and let them know about the property. You're going to prospect. So you might prospect for other neighbors. You can let them know, maybe, you know, we're going to be doing an open house this Saturday. We already did an open house last week, and we had about 12 couples come through. We've had another 5 or 6 showings this week. There's been a lot of activity. We know that this home is not going to last very long. And yet I already have a ton of buyer leads that have come through the open house efforts that we're doing. And so I'm here knocking on your door because only one couple or one person is going to be able to secure this home. And we've got a lot of buyers that still want to move into the Crescent Lake area. So I just wanted to knock on your door and see, have you ever thought about selling? Again, having that opportunity to do that when anyone comes into your open house. So day of, we prospect as well. Thank you so much for coming into my open house. Generally speaking, people that come into an open house are thinking about buying a home or thinking about selling a home. Which one are you? And just having a conversation with them that way. You want to get a feel of who they are. You know, Torin, who is our buyer specialist on the Coastal League Group, he has people come into the open house, go, fantastic, do me a favor, take a look around, see if you like anything, if you have any questions, and when you're done, I have a postcard or a little placard that I'd love for you to be able to fill out so that we can give feedback to our seller. And so he does it a little differently. Some people like to ask for sign-in on the front end. Torin actually allows them to go through, but sets the expectation that when they're done, he's going to ask them to fill this little placard out. And they will sit down and they will fill everything out as legible as possible. They're going to give feedback, and that's been a really helpful thing for him. And then once the open house is over, you want to thank everyone for their time, whether you talked to them through door knocking or they came to your open house, send them a thank you card, send them an email, whatever it might be, a phone call, and then pursue. So are they someone who's actively looking right now? Are they an A, B, or C buyer? Are they an A, B, or C seller? Whatever that might look like. And so you're going to be building a system around it. There's always a pre, during, and post system that we should have around any kind of prospecting or marketing activities that we're doing. So again, we want to add those contacts. We want to follow up with them. We want to stay top of mind through putting them on a smart plan. So here's opportunities that there are through doing an open house. So you can host a speaker. Maybe you have a lender that's there with you during the open house that gives them an opportunity to connect with someone if need be. Maybe you offer a gift. So Sabina, one of our all-star agents and our faculty normally when it comes to Ignite, our normal situation, she does something where she will give people an opportunity to guess the price that the home will sell for. They'll put that price into a jar, and the person who is closest to the purchase price wins a $25 gift card to Lowe's or Home Depot. Maybe you want to do just a gift card as people come through that can be helpful. They don't even have to guess. It's just put your information down and you'll be entered into a drawing on all of the people that come through the open house, and they might be able to get a gift. And the reason why you're doing that is there's a currency exchange. You hear me talk about that a lot. If I give you false information, well, it doesn't matter because I really didn't want you to communicate with me anyway. But if I would like a gift card, well, I might be tempted to give you more accurate information in the chance of winning. Making sure that you get the house in showing shape. So show up to your open house early, make sure that everything can be clean. You might want to keep a broom in your car. I know Stephanie Huffman keeps an electric air blower just to make sure that if there's leaves or anything in the driveway that she can blow them out so that it's clean. Maybe there's some droppings or a dead cockroach in a vacant house because no one's been in there for 15 days. Just going through and making sure that you're picking up some of those things, turning on all lights, making sure that there's as much natural light as possible, nothing on the countertops, maybe playing music in the background. I haven't done an open house in a long time, but I would bring my iPad, and my iPad plays music with Pandora, and that's just kind of relaxing, soft music in the background, just to kind of create a sentiment as you're walking through a house that's not just silent and awkward. And always prepping. So we'll do a video on Facebook letting people know, hey, this is Micheal Reedy with Keller Williams standing in front of our newest listing, 123 Banana Street. Please join me this Saturday from 12 until 3, where I'm going to be hosting an open house for this property. So if you or anyone you know is interested in moving into the gorgeous Crescent Heights neighborhood, I have the perfect bungalow for you. Come on, join me. We're also going to be giving away a free $50 gift card. All you have to do is come by, sign in, say hello, and enter your chance to win. And that quick video is something that we would put on Facebook. We put it on social media. That way we're really grabbing people's attention. And then we're also creating a buzz. I will then boost that video on top of the neighborhood. So as I'm knocking on people's doors, if they're on their social media, they're also potentially seeing my video. So they're able to kind of get a glimpse on the way that we market our properties, the way that we prospect. I'm interviewing for the job of being their future agent. And so that's what's really important to also understand about open houses. Open houses only are about 3% successful, meaning that only about 3% of buyers who actually purchased a home bought that home because they walked into that open house. More often than not, people walk into an open house because of street signs. They walk in because of balloons. Maybe they walk in because they see it on Zillow. They didn't know by seeing the signs how many bedrooms, price point, any of those things. They just saw the signs pulled over and wanted to see the home. So that might not be the perfect home for them. That's why it's so important for you to be able to build rapport with them and also let them know that you can help them. So that's the question as they walk through the home. Well, is this a home that you would like to make an offer on? It's so important that we ask that question because they're like, no, it's very pretty. It's just not for us. Okay, absolutely. I completely understand. Well, are there any other properties that you were looking for that you would like to schedule a private showing that I might be able to help you with? Because remember, if they're walking through an open house without an agent,
Hey guys, it's Rachel in here. I think Micheal just lost internet again, unless I'm crazy. Can you guys hear me?
you go live on Facebook, and Go Live is actually doing the open house itself. Hi there, Rachel.
I think you lost internet.
You're muted. There you go.
I think you lost internet for a minute.
Oh.
So I was just popping in to entertain while you were.
I wasn't there. I just delivered some really great stuff about, is this a home that you want to make an offer on?
No, we heard that. It was just like, it was like
Good.
15, 20 seconds.
I was like, damn, I'm not doing that one again. It's recorded. Hopefully.
Get your back, I'm here.
Okay. Social media. I talk a lot about social media. I'm going to be talking about this more on Thursday using campaigns in command. So you want to select the people that you're looking for, select the platform that you're wanting to talk to, the content that you want to share. You want to seek out the best messaging, imaging, design that you could possibly do so that you're crafting your image in a way that's going to draw their attention, of which I honestly believe is probably video format as much as possible. Then share that out on your business page, share it on your personal page. Better yet, share your business on your business page, and then share your business page's post on your personal page, so that if there's anyone in your world that wants a little bit more information or wants to explore your business page, they can then just click on that link and it'll take them directly there. And then providing service and making sure that they understand that you can provide excellent service through social media, through your marketing, because remember, we're marketers first, real estate agents second. So we have to first sell ourselves, sell our products, sell our value, just like what we've been talking about during Power Up this morning, in order for them to want to hire you. They want to get a glimpse of what that looks like without you giving them everything. And social media allows us to do that. So they talk about from your social media that it should be about 20% business, 80% personal. I think that that's great. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people, remember, we've kind of talked about this before. You're a local influencer, right? So for lack of a better example, you are the Kim Kardashian or the Kylie Jenner of the area. Your job is to sell lifestyle, it's to sell community, it's to sell why someone would want to move into this particular neighborhood or into our beautiful city. And so because of that, it's so important that you understand that 80% of personal is so that they can get to know you. What makes you, you? Why would I want to work with you? People want to work with people that they know, like, and trust, or people that look like them, sound like them. Come from similar backgrounds. And so it's from that perspective that you can connect with them on a personal level. Now, this is not, behind the scenes, no makeup. It doesn't have to be that. But it's just letting them explore. If you go to a restaurant, or there's a small restaurant that you love to support, that you've been supporting during COVID, share that restaurant, share why you love them, share why they make the community unique. If you've been a little more active these past couple of weeks, and so maybe you went and bought roller skates, or you've been biking more, share that. Share pictures from your areas that you like to bike. Maybe you like to bike near Vinoy. Maybe you like to bike near Lassing Park. Maybe you like to go towards the beaches. Take pictures and let people kind of get a glimpse of what you're going through. If you're previewing property, be able to show them some great views, or preview pretty homes so that you can take pictures of what that looks like. And that's kind of a blend between what's going on, you're still staying busy, and also business. I like this 80-20 principle. I kind of abide by the principle of thirds. So I like to do about a third of business, a third personal, and then a third that's motivational, inspirational. So if I find a great quote, or, those cute little bored panda videos that shows, an animal or a dog that's just overgrown and they've been chained to a tree for God knows how long. And then the vet shaves them, and then they go to a sponsor or a foster home, and that foster home gets to kind of build that dog back up, and you start to see its energy come out, and then by the end of it, they've been adopted by a lovely family, and the dog's best friends with a 6-year-old kid. Those kinds of feel-good stories, those feel-good contents are one of the things that can be there. That's part of the inspiration aspect, or the motivation. Maybe there's a really great video from Santorini, Greece, and it's a place that you've always wanted to go to. And so you would share, check out this great video. Isn't this place absolutely stunning? If you could go anywhere on vacation where COVID is not an issue, where would you go? And there's a way for you to engage with people in a way that has nothing to do with real estate, but is going to increase engagement. And that's one of the great things that's there. So you can either follow 80% personal, 20% business, or you can follow the principle of thirds, which is a third business, a third personal, and a third motivational, inspirational, whichever you want to do. So taking action and developing your plan, one of the things to understand, and for some of you, you might be newer to where we don't have an opportunity to track your business just yet. And yet for others, you might have been in business for a while. So understanding what your strengths are, right? If we go back to the 6 personal perspectives, perspective number one is to commit to self-mastery, and committing to self-mastery is to knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and how you can benefit from knowing your strengths and weaknesses, especially your strengths, right? Prospect to your strengths. So we know that 80% of agents got 90% of their business from 5 sources or less. And so that might be your sphere of influence. It might be from agent to agent referrals. It might be from open houses. It might be from social media advertising, whatever it might look like. If we were to take every single piece of business that you've received and we were to break it down, about 90% of your business is going to come from 5 sources or less. And number one is going to be disproportionately more advanced. It would be much higher than 2 through 5. So if you look back at my personal business, 79% of our business comes from our sphere of influence, which means that the remaining 21% comes from everything else. So where should I spend majority of my time and money? Should be my sphere, as long as I'm getting an adequate return from the amount of people that I have. Now, granted, if I've sold 2 homes, and one of them came from my sphere and one of them came from open houses, I don't yet have enough information to really track a trend and to know what that looks like. You have to have not a significant amount, but we definitely need a data set. So we need quite a bit. And this can also be helpful as you go through this process. I remember getting into real estate. My grandfather has sold life insurance for a majority of his professional career. And he said, you know, it's going to take about 3 to 5 years for you to really catch your stride and for people to start to come to you. And he was absolutely right. It took about 3 years for people to remember. Now, granted, I was still doing business for those first 3 years and was well hitting goals and things of that nature. But it wasn't until kind of 3 years in that I was associated in people's brains so solidified that I was a real estate agent, and for them to just call and do the come list me's, if you will. And so understanding this is to develop your plan around your strengths. Well, if you don't have an answer, well, what I would recommend that you do is pick 3 pillars of your business that you would like your business to be formed around, whether that's open houses, whether that's networking, whether that's agent to agent referrals, sphere of influence, whatever it might look like, for sale by owners and expireds. Pick 3 of them that you really want to master, that you want to get good at. And then you're going to develop a plan and take action around those 3. And through our time together, tracking your business through the next 6 months to 12 months, we're going to start to see, by focusing in those efforts, even just out of those 3, which one continues to show up at number 1, right? So we can take an opportunity to do that. Here's an idea of what this looks like. So first, you would just list everything of where your business came from. So in this example, you can see their total number of transactions. So they just listed anything and everything in no particular order. Then they prioritized them based on which were the ones that yielded the most results, and then focused on the top 5 by realizing, though, that 24 pieces of their business, right? 24 out of the total of 39 transactions that are here, that 24% or more than 50% of their business came from the top 2, that was social media and door knocking. So that's where they're going to put majority of their effort in their prospecting and their marketing efforts to really just exemplify that further. Before I go too much further, I realize I'm talking quite a bit. So I want to get some ahas from you, ahas around your plan on open houses, around prioritizing. What are some thoughts that you have around building a prospecting plan that's intentional, like what we've been talking about here thus far? What are you hearing that you're liking? In the chat box, go ahead and put there for me, what are some of the things that you are taking away from this information? What can you apply to your business Yep, contents for plan, absolutely. Linda said, it helps you to know where to focus your efforts. Absolutely, Kelly Reynolds. I like the open house tip of having a drawing to get correct info from attendees will help with prospecting afterwards. Absolutely. Kelly said, I'm excited for the open houses when it's a thing again. I like the idea of being a social media influencer. I like the idea of getting people into open houses by offering a door prize. Absolutely. Eve, not to be afraid to change it up if you aren't getting results. Yeah, I mean, I've dumped a lot of money in efforts that we realized were not helpful. One of which is we did a whole farm area. We committed to a farm area for a number of months. We did a Christmas client appreciation party and had Santa and free pictures with Santa and a hot chocolate station and a whole arts and crafts station. And it was really geared towards children. And then we realized that our database is a lot of double income, no kids. They're either empty nesters or they are just in the process of beginning to have a child. You know, millennials are having a baby, buying a house, and getting married in no particular order, just one of those three things. And so we found that a lot of our people are either in that millennial demographic or they were in the baby boomer demographic, quite frankly. So we had a huge misalignment with we're putting money in an effort, but realizing that it wasn't in alignment with what our sphere and what our database looked like, which is why it's so important for you to see those things and go, yeah, I mean, we do need to change it up if these things aren't happening. And I do think that COVID has caused some of our more seasoned agents to rethink some of the things that they do. I mean, Monica Crawford said that some 37% of her business was coming from open houses last year. And that's a team that did almost 80 transactions. So, or did 80 transactions. So it's from that perspective of she's had to completely change her business model around open houses and making sure that she's still doing some version of them virtually. Absolutely. All right, so developing a prospecting plan. One of the best things that you can do about developing a prospecting plan, in my opinion, is just take a calendar that is Monday through Sunday and say, you know, if social media is going to be something that you want to do, what are the things that I can prioritize on a daily basis? And Kelly Reynolds, I got your email. She sent me her calendar. Don't think that I forgot about any of you people. You all said that you were going to send me either your calendar or whatever your plan was from Friday's class, right? The goal that you had, you wanted to be accountable. How often do you want to check in? Linda, I also got yours as well. So please make sure if you haven't sent those, that you do send those to me today, that you were building whatever you wanted to be held accountable to. And then today is about developing a prospecting plan. So an idea of this might be that on Tuesdays, those are the days that I want to record a virtual walkthrough through a vacant listing. And so I'm going to record it on Tuesday, and then we're going to release the video on Wednesday, right? Maybe that's what I want to do. And then on Mondays, maybe I want to do, this is something that Torrin was doing for our team for a long time, is that every Monday became Mural Monday. So he had taken pictures of a lot of the murals all around downtown St. Pete. There was an entire kind of mural walk that you could do through the city of St. Pete. And so there's a website that has the descriptions of the murals and things about the artist. And so he would just share that information on Monday just to kind of create a buzz with some of the people that were there. So maybe that's what you do on Monday. Maybe you do Foodie Friday. Maybe you go to a local restaurant and interview a local restaurant owner or manager or chef and just ask them questions about the property, ask them questions about the food, maybe do a highlight of something that you like to eat, whatever it might be. And so the idea here is that you're going to build out on your schedule, what am I going to do each day? Am I going to prospect to my sphere Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Maybe I'm going to call for sale by owners and expireds Tuesday, Thursday. Well, that's not really building the habit other than the phone calls. So maybe I'm going to spend the 9 o'clock hour calling my sphere, and then I'm going to spend the 10 o'clock hour calling for sale by owners and expireds, and then 11 to 12, I'm going to do follow-up with anybody that I need to that's not a new lead. And so that's my schedule from them. And maybe this is the idea is when you build structure around this, that is, okay, every Thursday I intend for this kind of content to go out. Or if you're going to follow the principle of thirds, well, maybe Monday is business, Tuesday is personal, Wednesday is business, Thursday is inspirational, Friday is personal, Saturday is business because you're going to do an open house, and Sunday is inspirational. Whatever that looks like for your social media, you want to develop a prospecting plan. And I find either doing this from a monthly perspective or doing this from a weekly perspective can be very helpful, and you'll end up doing both. So maybe I want my postcards to go out on the 15th of the month. Well, in order to go out on the 15th of the month, I probably need the first draft completed by the 1st of the month, so I can get it to the print house, and then they can print it and mail it out and be delivered by the 15th. Well, if that's the case, then I probably need to plan for week 4 of every month that I'm building the content and I'm having a conversation with myself around what is it that I want to provide via postcard next month, right? And so you can do a lot of these things, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed by all of the things that you can do, but just look at your calendar and say, these are the marks that I would like to do on a daily basis to give you a little more clarity around what you're hoping to achieve, right? Because there's so much that we can do that without that structure, sometimes we get so overwhelmed that we just don't do anything. All right, so I know that you already gave me some ahas, but let's go ahead and say, how has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new for you today? And what was meaningful for you today about this conversation? Let's see, so Eve said that she needs to do more prospecting. Okay, we all do. What else? Yeah, measuring results, tracking results are so important. If we don't know what we've done, then we don't know how to get better, or quite frankly, it's from that perspective that Eve, I know that through this opportunity, we've seen when you lead generate during that hour, it's like, oh, I talked to my friend and they're thinking about selling and they know someone who wants to buy it. And I love it, which is that oftentimes when you're on here during even just that hour of lead generation, you're seeing results from your sphere. And I would assume that the 2 biggest pillars for you, Eve, are probably your sphere and your farm. And I would be really interested to go back and look at the percentages, which is just last year. You don't have to do this now, but I would love to know it by tomorrow, is out of the transactions that you had last year, what percentage came from your sphere, what percentage came from your farm? Because I think it will really dictate. Then we build it a further step and say, from a marketing perspective, what can you do and who should you really be spending money on, your farm or your sphere, for sure. Kelly Reynolds, I need to work at finding those areas of prospecting that I'm best suited for and focus on them. Absolutely. Understanding also that prospecting is a new habit. You're working a muscle that you've not worked before. So understanding that from a fitness perspective is you have to give yourself time to build that muscle. If you pick up the phone, you call someone, you don't like it, and you stop it, that's not necessarily building the muscle, right? And so we do have to find 2 or 3 different prospecting areas that that you're interested in, that you're open to exploring, you're open to improving, and then commit to doing those things for 3 months or 6 months, and we do not deviate from that plan, and we can really track what did we like, what did we not like, what do we want to continue with our business, and where would we like to pivot. All right, Kelly said so many great ideas. I like the idea of being specific with who you will call and when versus just calling in general. Being specific and intentional, absolutely. Linda said, be consistent with prospecting and stick with your plan for at least 6 months. And Eve is going to let us all know what percentage of her business was broken down last year between Sphere and her farm. Love it. Okay. What behaviors, what action steps? So some of you said or should have realized that through this that you need to kind of develop a plan around prospecting and who you want to specifically call. Maybe it's just that you need to time block your calendar, whatever it looks like. So what actions will you be taking during this next week to implement what we've talked about today? Leslie said she'll be creating a schedule to keep her on track. Love that. What else? Eve, written goals for number of prospects to contact and dedicated hour per day just for that. Awesome. Do we have all ladies today? We have all ladies today. How awesome is that? I mean, minus me, but you understand what I'm saying. How great is that? I am so lucky. Thank you, Eve. That is very true. It's a rarity. You could understand why. To be completely surrounded by women. Kelly said, researching community outreach options and opportunities. Absolutely looking forward to that. Kelly Reynolds, researching ways to provide value to those that she's prospecting with. Yeah, I mean, again, what is it that could be interesting for someone? Someone who's in a particular neighborhood, maybe they just want to know what's going on in that area, what's happened within the last 3 months. Have home prices gone up or gone down? A lot of people are thinking that the market is going to soften, and the market in some aspects has, and in other aspects it hasn't. Our days on market continue to stay very low. So maybe that's the information that you share. You hear the number of homes that have sold in the last 3 months, or even with March, even just the last 2 months, March 15th through May 15th. And you can say, what are the average days on market for those homes? And what's the average list price to sales price ratio? Because I think a lot of people will see that it's not a big clearance sale for homes, and we have to tell that narrative. So are you curious about what your home is worth during COVID? Call me for a free home estimate. You can do some things that way, absolutely. All right, and Linda said time blocking and working on her specific prospecting plans. Fantastic. Well, again, it goes back to that question. You don't have to answer it in the chat box, but always run it through this lens. That is, what is it that I want to do? You all have identified what you want to do it. How or by when would you like to have it done? So do you want it done by Friday? Do you want it done by this time next week? And then as your coach or whomever your accountability partner is that you identified, then the question is, as a coach, I ask the question, how will I know that it's done? This is also really great with anybody that's in your world. What is it that you wanted to do this week? Or what is it that you wanted to do today? Fantastic. By when do you want it done? Great. How will I know that it's completed? I'll text you, I'll email you, I'll let you know. Wonderful. Please let me know if you need anything. And it's just setting that lens so that people have a timeline. Yvette Bricchetto, who's in the coaching program, she wanted to do some things. She wanted to build her calendar. So she had to send me her calendar by 11 o'clock on Saturday. Fantastic. She sent me another text this morning that I haven't been able to see yet, that she's building a plan of accountability to help her reduce her expenses so that she can be redirecting that money towards saving and paying off some debt. That's what this is all about, folks, right? Is you doing the activities that are getting you to your goals. And for many of you, you realize that the single most important thing that you can do to help with that is prospecting. Well, it is 9:59, so we're going to go into our script practice time together. So this is the last day with your script partner that we've had for this last week. If you are on here that you do not have a script partner, please, in the chat box, make sure that it says to all panelists and attendees, please raise your hand and let people know that you need a script practice partner, and we'll get you situated. I'm going to stop share for a moment so that I can pull up our script practice list and share that with you. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, is when we're going to start with new script partners. So that information is there and ready for you. So again, today is the last day with the script partner that's here. If by chance your script partner is not here today or not participating, please just raise your hand and let someone know in the chat box that you need a script partner. You might be able to join another group of 2, or you might find someone else that's on here that does not have a partner currently. I just shared that to you in the chat box, that link, so that you have access to it, as well as I'm going to pull it up and share my screen. We're going to take the next 30 minutes to focus on script practice. So here's the information. If you find that your name's on here and you do not have a script partner or your phone number's not here, please add it next to your name. If your name's not on the list, please put your name on the list. That way we have everyone here that has a partner, and we'll move on from there. I will be here. If you have any questions, just put it in the chat box. And if not, then I will see you all back here at 10:30. Talk to you soon. All right, let's come back. What are some wins from the scripts? What did you work on today? What were you looking to practice to take into your lead generation for today? Go ahead and put that in the chat box for me, please. Anyone? Eve is reviewing old open house prospects and calling. No hit so far, but have goals. Absolutely love that. What else? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be giving you that second half, the toolkit. I'll do that here in just a minute so that you have that. I just want to make sure that we're situated before we do our calls today. Let me see. I'll go in to the shared drive and I'll do that now. What else? What else did you practice while I'm pulling this up? They'll remind them you're in real estate. Okay, awesome. And creating partnership with local businesses. Absolutely. Practice calling professional service industries for referrals. Okay, awesome. Let's see, elemental toolkit. That's what we need. Make a copy. All right, so I'm grabbing this here for you. This is the link for the Elementals toolkit. So you have the Spark toolkit, now you have the Elementals toolkit. This is going to also have some additional scripts for you that can be very helpful. So you'll be able to take a look at that after lead generation. However, it is 10:34. So we're going to take the next hour until 11:35 to do our lead generation. So please go ahead and use this time, make phone calls, send text messages, send Facebook messages, write thank you cards, whatever you need to do so that you're staying top of mind for the people that are in your world, as well as agent-to-agent referrals, whatever you're doing to build your business. We're going to go ahead and take the next hour to do that. We'll come back at 11:35 and take the remainder of our time to focus on building our database. If you have any questions, I'm here. If not, then I will talk to you in an hour. Good luck. Talk to you soon.